And we are back again, the friendly neighborhood film watch. We are Franklin Football. I'm your humble host, Brandon, and I got my man, Honey Grant, set it off first with me. Chris, it's hot outside, man. How you doing?
Hey man, we just trying to slug through these 4 weeks of purgatory with
Mm,
no football, really no action going on. Colleges are off for a couple of weeks, pros have been off, and now it's just kind of like that hate, the calm before the storm, man. So
yep.
just trying to stay relevant, trying to stay busy, keep our head above water, talk about a few things, man. And it's the most dreaded time for you of the year because
Yep.
we out here doing lists.
Yeah. So I kind of got this thing, Chris. I will rank a quarterback. Like I will in any position really. I'll rank quarterbacks. But when you come out with these way too early lists, when guys haven't really played yet anything, you ain't seen no guys practice with pads, one or nothing. It's like, what are we doing, man? It's what are we doing? It gets exasperating, I swear. But it's content, and we got to cover it, right?
Yeah, you really just trying to give yourself something to talk about. You're really trying to set yourself up for something that might happen during the year or what you saw from last year, and then you get, you just get to expound on it. So, that's what we're doing, man. So I think I sent you a list this week. The first one I sent you, you was ticked off behind that one. So I might as well, we can go ahead and if we want to get to that one, or we want to go to which direction you want to go, boss.
Let's talk about let's get some general football stuff on in here, right?
All right,
Because we talk about the Cowboys a lot, but we fans of the game at the end of the day,
True.
So what is it? ESPN Bet put out their over and under totals for the year.
Okay. All right.
You might notice something a little different. Now I'd have created an overlay for us, got a background going on. Just, made things a little nice for company, Chris, so they can come in and kick their feet up.
Come in and kick their feet up, right.
But ESPN Bet, released their opening over-under win totals for the year. And, some teams I feel really good about. Some teams I feel like, man, what are they doing up this high,
Okay.
Like one that really struck out to me. The Bears are sitting at 8.5 over under for their win total. What do you feel about the Bears? Do you think that that's too low, too high, just right? What are your thoughts?
I definitely believe that that's a really good number for the Bears, and they should be shooting for that. You got to say, I hear you groaning a little bit, but being to the fact that I see what they have available to them. They turned around and revamped their offensive line. That was the number one thing they had to do. They wanted to get better at their offensive line, and they did do that. And then you get second year, you get some guys going into their second year. You get Caleb Williams going to a second year. You get Rome Meduzier going into his second year. And then you're going to turn around and say, okay, those guys should have an upward tick. And you already had DJ Moore. So I think 8.5 there, and they've always had a really stingy type of defense. They would play really good defense. So 8.5 in a 17-game season, I think that's an uptick from what they were last year. And the year before they won 9 games with Justin Fields. So I think 8.5 is a nice landing spot for them. First year coach, they want to see that, all the different things that Ben Johnson can bring to it, and just see how that works out. So I think that's going to be a good situation. 8.5 isn't. I think it's right about right for them.
Now, do I think that they could win 9 or more games? Sure, of course. But seeing as how they were a 5-win team last season, and they have so much new changes, new philosophies, new schemes coming in, putting them up at to win a bet 4 additional games, it's rough to me, man. That is rough.
It's 3. I mean, 4 games. I mean, 4 games with they won 5 games with a rookie quarterback. And they fired their coach mid-season. Yeah. So, okay, I'll give you that. So I would just think the progression would be if you're a quality starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, to me, you should win 5 games. Yeah. You should win 5 games. Now, in a 17-game season, the defense is going to have to, do a couple different things. But, I think Caleb Williams is a definite bona fide starter in the league. So I definitely believe 8.5 is a good number for him.
I mean, for what it's worth, they've done everything in their power to surround him with weapons.
Right.
Not only did they do that, having him come in as a rookie, but they took this draft and just loaded him up with offensive firepower. So yeah, man, it's
well,
they are all in on his success.
I mean, you got to think about it. They got DJ Moore. They went and got Luther Burton, who I think is kind of like a poor man's Deebo Samuels. He's not a great route runner. He's just really explosive with the ball. You got a route running minutes in Roma Duzier. You've already got you already got a nice tight end, and you upgrade your offensive line. I definitely believe with that, and with another year in the system, he should be able to get to get to 8.5, 9 wins.
Do you believe that much in Ben Johnson that he could upgrade their offense that much?
I think Ben Johnson is going to be good with toys. Ben Johnson has shown me he can win when he's got premium players. And as much as we may not like it, they do have premium players in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. They definitely do. They definitely got dudes on offense.
Absolutely.
And they got guys on defense too. So, the personnel is there. It's just do I think that they're going to be that much better of a team where they're going to go from 5 wins to 9 overnight? I'm not really sure.
I mean, 9.5 wins right now with the way the format is laid out. Does that make them a fringe playoff team, or does that make a team that they're playing late into the season and we're looking at them and saying, hey, what they're going to do? I think they should be able to be competitive.
If you win 9 games, you are a fringe playoff team, though.
I mean, you could be a playoff team. You got an opportunity to get there.
Yeah,
but
fringe.
I mean, you're a fringe team. So, but I think you're gonna have to have a couple things break your way. But I think that whole division is going to take a step back, and then we're not going to have 2 teams with 15 wins, and then the next team turns around and has got they're going to have 8, 9 wins to get into the playoffs. But I think it's with those 3 extra playoff spots, they got a chance. They got a chance to be able to do it. I just don't think it's going to be as lopsided as it was last year.
And I'm actually glad. So I'm going to focus on the word lopsided in 1 second. Hold on to that word. So I'm glad that you mentioned the rest of their division, because they got some squads in that division, right? Detroit, obviously is a team that has gone very far, but was just plagued by injury. If you look at them, they are set at the over under 10.5. Minnesota has one of the most complete rosters in football, and they are set at also 8.5 because they got a new quarterback. JJ McCarthy may finally play, health withstanding, And then the Packers. The Packers are also a very complete team. Now, I believe that they got like troubles like wide receiver troubles and things like that, but they're still a very complete team. Josh Jacobs went off last year. Their guys, when they're healthy, all of their receivers are pretty good. I'm not even gonna say pretty good. They're really good. And then they added to that in the draft. So that division is stacked. I'm not gonna lie to you. And the Bears have to find a way to win some of those divisional games on top of their other games. Sheesh.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be that daunting of a task. I mean, if you go back last year, they played Detroit pretty fair for the most part. I do believe Detroit's going to take a step back. And then I'm going to look at JJ McCarthy's going to be a rookie. So he's going to have to take his
all intents and purposes a rookie. I get what you mean.
Right. Yeah, he's a rookie. He's never taken a game and snapping an NFL game. He got hurt in camp.
Yeah.
So, he's a rookie. So now you got him. And then you turn around with Green Bay. Green Bay is, they have trouble on the outside. That's why they went so heavy in the draft with wide receivers. So I think Detroit's a little bit inflated. They won 15 games last year. Everybody says with the talent they have, they should turn around and get to 10. I just think they lost too much in coaching for that to be the case. I think they're going to fight that. They're going to have to fight to get to 10. And then I just think, with the youth of McCarthy, it's not going to be as dominant for them. They've got pieces around them. They've got
they got a complete roster, man. The Vikings got a complete roster. They are good all around.
I mean their running back position is going to be tested. You got Addison and you got Jefferson and you got and Hawkinson is tight end, but they've got holes too. But like I said, they turned around last year and they were able to catch lightning in the bottle. With Sam Darnold. You think
that was lightning in the bottle, or do you think that was a result of a great scheme and a great team around him?
I think that's just lightning in the bottle, because and when it comes to the playoffs, they've done the same thing again. They can't get out the first. They can't get out the first round. We talking about getting to the NFC Championship. They have a hard time getting out the first round. So I just think, they've got offensive minds and things of that nature, but everybody's going to take a take back. I think Detroit's definitely going to take a tip back because of losing Ben Johnson, losing Aaron Glenn, losing Antoine Randall L., but more importantly, losing their center, Frank Ragnow.
And I think that's the thing, man. Losing that center, man. And he was an all-pro center. All-pro center, young guy.
Yeah. And then, turn around and say, hey, I'm out. So now you got to find the confidence in that guy that's going to step in and play like it. And so, like I said, I think everybody takes a shift back in that area. And then I think, that gives them the opportunity for Chicago to get to those 8 wins.
And speaking of Detroit, it really comes down to how much do people trust Jared Goff when he loses pieces, when he loses coaches. Because he was a guy that didn't really instill much confidence when he was coming there from LA. So now that things get a little less comfortable, how do people think that he's going to adjust? Is Jared Goff really a guy now, or is he a result of their system?
I mean, I think Jared Goff is a good, he's an okay quarterback, but I think every quarterback is to the point that they're inside of a system that works for them. He's not a guy that's because he's a drop back, find the read, bowl, and throw the football. But then there was some to the point that Johnson made so many easy buttons for him. It's a little bit easier for him to say, okay, I've got all the movement and shifting, which gives me an easy button over here. So that's going to be the biggest thing. How does he transition with this next coordinator? So as long as you give Jared Goff easy buttons, I think he'll be all right. He's a systematic quarterback. He's a 5-step, 3-step drop guy. He's not an improvised, move around the pocket, make a play type guy. He's going to be, hey, I'm going to read the progression. I'm going to go from there. So, I think he's going to regress back. I'm totally in saying that. And that's why I think their team is not going to, be their window closed so rapidly because of the, the removal of the coaching. They got players. Yeah, I think they got pieces, but I think their coaching staff helped elevate what their coach did. Dan Campbell wants to be, Dan Campbell's never been to the point, hey, I'm a defensive guy, I'm an offensive guy. He's like, I'm a motivated CEO guy. He had coaches in place that coached those sides of the ball and things of that nature that made them who they were.
You said the window is closed. You believe that Detroit had reached their peak last season? You don't think they're gonna be able to do it again?
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think they're gonna. No, I don't look at Detroit as being a one of those teams that's going to really contend. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to win games. I think they're going to make a run for the playoffs. But I don't look at them as one of the top 4 teams in the NFC. I don't.
Top 4? You don't look at them as top 4?
No.
Man, they lost a lot, but I don't know if they lost that much. They still got dogs on that offense.
Listen, listen, I'm going back to my experience. I lost my center, and I watched my football team struggle.
For sure.
Struggle mightily.
True.
Okay? So I'm not even going to play that kind of game. And I don't think Jared Goff has ever been as good as Rain. I think he's just been in better systems. So I don't believe he can turn around and elevate his team to that point. You're like, okay, I'm going to throw it on Jared Goff's back, and he's going to go win it for me. So, no, I stand on that.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. They like you said, they lost a lot. They are bombed out and depleted right now, right? But one thing about it, a team that didn't lose a lot, the Vikings didn't lose a lot, Chris. The Vikings did not lose a lot at all. The only thing that really changed is their quarterback. They got a young quarterback full of potential in J.J. McCarthy. And they were, a 13-win team last year, and they're now only projected to win 8.5? Or that's their over-under, rather? I think they'll reach that easily.
I don't think they'll reach it easily at all. He is a rookie. I think he's a rookie. And to be honest with you, of the quarterbacks that came out last year, J.J. McCarthy was the guy that I think the scouts and the media propped up to be this great quarterback.
I like me some JJ, Chris. I like me some JJ.
I didn't like JJ McCarthy at all. I think they had a really heavy senior laden team. And So my feeling is I watched J.J. McCarthy play against Ohio State with all the weapons they had, and then they had the quarterback they had there, and he nutted up on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There was no way that they should have lost those games. You know what I'm saying? And then so he turns around and he gets a whole nother year and goes somewhere else. And at it, he turned around. He became the all-time leading yards passer in the ACC. But he had to throw the ball all the time, and I can't imagine how he's playing in the Big Ten. He's got the number 5 player in the draft. He's got the number 5 player in the draft. He turns around and he has another first round wide receiver on his team. He's got 2 first round pro wide receivers on his team. He's got guys who go high in the draft. They go at tackles, and he does nothing with that. And he had a Travion Henderson. Now, I don't want to hear that. So so I think he was bad. So I think JJ just did what he needed. He handed the ball off to Crooms. He handed the ball off to Donovan Edwards. He threw when he had to. And then, Michigan just played sound football. But I never saw anything spectacular or made me go, ooh, J.J. McCarthy's a guy. So now he comes in to the league. He showed me he's brittle, or he showed me, he's got the injury bug. And I'm always going to go back to it. It's a 12 to 18 month injury. And
now, thankfully, come the season, he gonna be past that 12-month mark.
Yeah, but it's still to the point. But now he gets to have to do it in real time with heavy expectation on him to win football games, and that's why I feel about J.J. McCarthy.
I mean, I get it. So, moving on to this is a different division now, Chris. They got the Falcons over under 7.5. I think they gonna destroy. They gonna knock that wall out of the park. That wall is gonna go down faster than the Berlin Wall, Chris. I got the Falcons winning maybe 10 games, man. I think that the Falcons are going to be a good team. They're a team that they couldn't rush the passer last year. So what did they do? They went out and got 2 edge rushers, two defensive linemen to go out there and terrorize a quarterback. I think that they attack their weaknesses with precision, with purpose. So yeah, man, I definitely think so.
I like what the Falcons are doing. I like the fact that they got
Hey, Chris, let's put a bookmark in that 2 seconds.
Okay.
Cowboys champs asks, do you think Jaden Daniels' mother will hinder him on his production?
with children. Yeah. You don't hinder him on that.
With the ladies, maybe, but I think that honestly, her militant style of helicopter parenting is going to lead to his success. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think that she's going to keep him locked in.
It'll lead to success?
That is the thing that has allowed him to be so successful. She's kept him locked in. She makes sure that he don't got no distractions.
I mean, she can't be there 24/7. I think when he's out and about. She can't be there all the time. It wasn't like she was living on campus. And I've seen moms who live on the campus and are there often a lot. So I don't know how that is, but I think it's a little bit overblown.
A little bit.
No.
Don't stop me from making jokes, though.
No.
Don't stop me from making jokes, though, Chris.
Hold on. I'm saying that I think it's not overblown. I think she's a little bit over top. She need to go find us some business. That's just me personally. Let that man do what that man gonna do, and go from there. But going back to Atlanta, I think with them
I think it'll be a double digit. I think they're gonna be a double digit win team this year. I think they
get 9. I think they get 9 wins. They went and got the rest of the passer. They got an opportunity. They're gonna play Carolina twice. They're gonna get New Orleans twice. So that's 4 wins. 3 or 4 wins. So and all you got, and how many they said they were gonna win for the year?
7.5.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be able to do that because, like I said, they get that, and then if they split with Tampa, that puts it at 5. That puts them at 4 or 5. So I think they can definitely scratch that, and I think they have the offense to be able to do it. They've got a very, very explosive offense, and Penix throws one of the best deep balls in all of football.
A healthy Penix is a threat, man. A healthy Penix can play that thing 80 yards with no issue. Yeah, he made out of paper mache and paper clips, man.
Yeah,
he's a high school science project.
Yeah, he's definitely. You got to make sure you carry him with both hands. But I think they're going to be able to do that. And then you get the ability of getting Bijan the football the way they do, in and out of the backfield, in space. Yeah, I think they definitely got an opportunity to crack that one. That's definitely one I'm going to go and put a little scratch on that for sure.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
And I also think that they got the benefit of only one other team in their division is truly competitive. In Tampa Bay, they won 9 or 10 games last year. They competed. There we go.
Yeah,
so they were a double-digit win team last year.
Yep.
But look at the Saints. The Saints really haven't made a push to be successful this year.
Right.
The Panthers are still trying to figure it out with Bryce Young. So the Falcons really only got one real competitor in their division.
I mean, I think the number they put out on Carolina was a little bit low. I think, what was it, like 7?
6.5. Talk about that, Chris.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Oh yeah. See, I think that now we were talking before. I wanted to put a little money on the side. And maybe maybe have a little extra Christmas money. Maybe a little better by my wife.
So we disagreed on the Panthers though. We disagreed on the Panthers. So talk about that.
I just think Carolina is going to make the next step up. I think you go and get a T-Mac. You get second year Xavier Legette. I think Chuba Hubbard's going to be fine. I think that offense is going to be enough. And Bryce starts showing you some of the pedigree that made him the guy who he is. So 6.5 games. I don't think, I think they've won 5 games. Last 2 years, they won 5 games.
They won 5 games in 2024. And then before that, they won 2, I want to say.
And so I think they make the jump. So they went from 2 wins to 5 wins. I definitely think they can get 2 more wins to get to 7 wins and be moving in the right direction. If they get to 8, but 5.5, what is it, 6.5?
6.5.
Oh yeah, I definitely think they can get that.
But here's the thing, and we talked about this backstage. The Panthers don't really win too often. You know what I'm saying? Even during the Cam Newton years, they were a double-digit team 3 times. Since 2010, the Panthers have won double-digit games 3 times since 2010. That's 15 years now.
Right.
So it's rough, man. It is rough.
Yeah, but double-digit wins is hard. I mean, we sit back here, and toot our nose up to them. We hadn't had double-digit back-to-back seasons until the last 3 years with Mike. The last 3 years of Mike McCarthy. It's hard to win double-digit wins in this league when you're trying to be competitive. And
they haven't even been above 500 besides those seasons, besides 2013, 2015, and 2017. They haven't been above 500 though.
Okay, so like I said, and you've had that rotation in quarterback and different things with ownership and things of that nature. So I understand that, but I'm not going to discount them making. They went from 2 to 5. The natural progression is to 8, 7, or 8. 6.5 is easy money. I got some coin for that.
I would be slamming the under. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would be slamming the under.
So you gonna slam Carolina for 6.5, but you gonna hold. Okay. So 3rd year Bryce Young, you're gonna slam. He can't win 6.5, but you gonna give rookie, underdeveloped, very slim, talented ass JJ McCarthy
much more talented team. Much more talented team.
Okay. All right.
I feel like Minnesota is one of the most complete teams in the league. I'm not gonna lie to you. So having a good offensive line, having a good running back, having elite receivers, will cover up any stink of bad quarterback play. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at Sam Darnold.
But they've done that back. Okay, they did it with Kirk Cousins. They did it with Sam. My whole point is this: they got those guys, right? So you're not going to tell me that T-Mac can't give you a half a game. Legette, second year, give you a half a game. You know what I'm saying? A third year quarterback, haven't seen the league and feel comfortable. He can't give you a game. That's what you're telling me?
I gotta see it.
Oh, okay, man. Okay.
I definitely gotta see it because I think in 2022, if I got my year right, the only reason they won that many games, didn't Baker go there before he went to LA and was able to play well or decently and then got traded?
I don't know if he played well or decently. I think he played. He was adequate, but I still don't think I think Bryce Young takes another tick up. See what I'm saying? So I think they've tried to address some issues, and get that team more solidified. but I think they trust Chuba. I think they definitely think they got something on the outside, and I think Bryce Young is just, as itty bitty as he is, he's figuring it out in this league.
I got to see it, Chris. I got to see it.
But wait a minute, you got to make him. You got to see it with Bryce, but you ain't got to see it with JJ.
Because we got trends now with Bryce. We got trends now that Bryce. We got trends showing that Bryce Young.
Bryce is showing you trends of getting better. I don't know what the hell JJ McCarthy is.
Complete team, man. I give a complete roster the benefit of the doubt rather than a dysfunctional front office and
I don't
not
see it
as
being so
complete roster.
dysfunctional. They turned around this year. They turned around last year. They've been moving forward. Now, if you told me they won 2 games the year before, then the next year with Bryce, they came out and they didn't show any promise to have any kind of any fight to them, and they won 4 games. They won 5 games. You know what I'm saying?
You can't get caught up on that half of the season though. That second half of the season.
Why?
When the first half, Bryce looked just like he did in his rookie year though.
But it's all about him getting better in this process. So So you telling me JJ McCarthy just gonna come and look like the rookie of the year?
No, I didn't say that. I just said that a good roster can cover up the stink of poor quarterback play.
Hey man, I think JJ McCarthy gonna struggle as a rookie. If Caleb Williams struggled as a rookie, I'd be damned. JJ McCarthy gonna struggle.
And for what it's worth, to kind of add some clarification, you're saying that he is going to struggle as a rookie because he has not seen the field in a real game.
Absolutely,
just to provide context to anybody who may be listening.
I think he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle being a rookie. He's gonna be like some rookies. I ain't gonna say all. Some rookies he's gonna have to be carried in a lot of areas. They're gonna have to be able to run the football extremely well. He's gonna have to be able to be patient and make check downs what he's supposed to do and things of that nature, and then go through that progression. If he does that, I think they'll be successful. I just think Bryce Young is gonna say, I've seen it. This third year, it's starting to slow down for me, and I've got elite weapons in certain areas, and I think they're gonna be fine.
Okay. I'm not sure what to think about the Jaguars, Chris. They got Jacksonville at their over under set at 6.5. I'm not sure what to think about them. I'm really not, because they have spent the early first round picks on dudes. They allegedly have a really good quarterback and have I'm not even sure what to call Sunshine. They got Trevor Lawrence. He's a walking, living, breathing quarterback. But yeah, man, 6 and I'm really not sure how to scale Jacksonville.
I think 6.5. I think it's 6.5 is kind of right, but I think for them, the division they play in makes it tough for them. That's what I'm saying. I think Jacksonville's division is so rugged and tough because Jacksonville plays in the division with they're in the Central, right?
It's Tennessee, Indy, Jacksonville, and who's that last team? Texans, Houston.
6.5. I mean, because Indianapolis. Indianapolis. They could split with Indianapolis.
Sure.
They could split with Tennessee. So that's 2. Okay, so that's 2 wins. Houston's got a lot of question marks on them. They did a real they had their second year slump. So I think I'll
talk about Houston in a second, but go ahead.
Yeah. I think Houston's got the potential to be tough. Because I always look at when you break it down with division games, if you got to in 6.5 games, can I get out of my 8 division games, can I split? Which teams can I split? Can I get 4 in my division? Am I good enough to get 4 in my? And I honestly believe they got the talent to get 4 games. They can split with everybody in their division. I think as much as we don't like Travis Hunter's life choices and his ability to get a lawyer and get a prenup, I still think he's an outstanding, amazing player. I think he's gonna have to pick a side. I really don't believe this. I don't think the way the NFL's played and him having to be elite at certain things. I don't think he's gonna be elite at anything, except for at the bank right now with that $40 million guarantee.
Fully guaranteed.
At the bank. He elite at the bank. but I think he's going to be good this year. I think they're going to be improved in the running game. I just think that's the one thing that Trevor Lawrence needs. He needs a running game that makes the game a little bit more simpler and easier for him to be able to make throws and not put himself in the harm's way in certain situations. And I think that helps out with that. So, I mean, he's got a definitely Brian Thomas Jr. He's got a really good wide receiver on the outside. I think 6.5. I think somebody trying to get. I think somebody out there in the NFL trying to get my wife a new wedding band here for Christmas. Because I'm telling you, man, they put some easy money out here on these streets, man.
You think I don't know if I would call 6.5 easy money. I don't know, man.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
I
like I'm truly not sure how to scale them.
I mean, I just like what I see from them. I just like the guys that they have the opportunity to take another tick up. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to take a tick up. I think Travis Hunter is going to go and be, electrifying in some kind of way. On both sides. Well, he's going to be electrifying on one side. I don't, he's just going to make plays. I don't think he's going to be spectacular at either one. I think he's going to go make plays. And I think the guys that they play against is going to be to the point in their division, they got a chance to split with all those teams. I think they can split with Tennessee. They definitely can split with Indianapolis. They definitely can split with Texas. So if they can do that's 3 wins. All they need is another 4 more wins. I think they got a chance.
I think that the Texans didn't really have a slump like a lot of people say. They were very injured. Bryce still put up very, very competitive numbers. And then they went out there and still won double-digit games. They still won 10 games last year. So I'm not sure that I would say that the Texans were in a real slump last year. I just think that things leveled out because you got your quarterback where teams get a full year's worth of film on them in the offseason to study. So I'm not. I don't say that the Texans got a slump. I just think that things leveled out. And I feel the same way when I just talk about C.J. Stroud in general. I don't feel like C.J. Stroud had a sophomore slump. Things just leveled out.
I think if you turn around with your quarterback, I think if you have a upper tier caliber quarterback, and we're gonna go through that list a little bit later, I think that guy gives you 5 wins. I think if you have a capable quarterback, I think he can give you 3. If I think you got a can of tomatoes back there, I think that guy can get you 1, maybe 2. I think Stroud is at the coming and growing into that upper tier to be in that 4 or 5 game he can get on his own type guy.
That's the difference that he makes. He's capable of putting 4 or 5 games on his back. Right. Everything else is going wrong.
Yeah, everything going wrong. But I think it's going to be harder for him because a lot of his matter of fact, his top weapons are gone. You know what I'm saying? Tank Dale's not going to be back this year.
Tank Dale not playing this season. We can cancel that already. Yeah. Tank's not playing. Stephon, he on the boat with Cardi. You know what I'm saying? And up in New England. So I think there's two big pieces. They got to fill some holes, and I think it's going to be a challenge for them to get the double digits this year. So I mean, it's going to be a wait and see process. I think it's going to be a wait and see for 10 digits for them. But like I said, just because they've lost so many weapons.
Yes, absolutely. You lost a lot of weaponry. You got a really, really good quarterback. Dalton Schultz is a capable tight end, but he's not an explosive game-breaking tight end. So I think
he is. I guess the position filler. Like he's not going to be your Kelsey or Kittle in their prime, but if you got a Dalton Schultz as your starting tight end, you'll feel comfortable. I get it.
Yeah, you'll be out. Yeah, so I think weaponry, and then I think they're just going to be. I think they're going to be more complete on defense. And so I think 10 is a lofty number. What do we have them getting to this year?
Their over unders 9.5. So it's really maintaining the course.
Yeah, maintain the course. So 9.5. That's I'm a little iffy on that one. Yeah.
One thing that you said is how many losses they had at receiver. Tank Dell is gonna miss all of this season. That's already confirmed. That's already confirmed because of that gruesome leg injury that he had. They lost Stephon Diggs. So I think that they're really depending on like the guys who were, I guess, down roster, like John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson, and then they drafted a guy this year too in the second round, Jaden Higgins. So Nico Collins is Nico Collins. He's still going to be a very good receiver.
He's going to be very good. Right.
Yeah, but as far as replacing Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell's production, I think that they're going to be depending on, like I said, down roster guys who.
They're going to be looking for
Michi. Don't get me wrong, I love Mechie coming out, but he had the health concerns, bigger than the game that took him out of it. Mm-hmm. And then Xavier Hutchinson, prior to this, he had to fight through, guys in front of him. John Mechie was there as he got healthy. Tank Dell, electric. Nico Collins, a dog. Stephon Diggs was there. So Xavier Hutchinson just couldn't crack those starting reps because of the guys in front of him. And I think that they're going to give him a bigger responsibility on top of, like I said, them drafting the rookie in day 2 of the draft. I'm not mad at 9.5 wins. I think that's very fair.
Man,
I think that is very fair.
I think it's a little lofty. I think it's a little bit lofty, being to the fact that you're trying to finally get the best of John Mechie. You're gonna Jaden Higgins is we liked what he did in the draft coming in, but it's it's a little bit different. Our motto here on Franklin Football, man. It's Coach different when you're playing for child support and mortgages, man.
For sure,
it's different. So I think it's gonna be he's gonna get maybe have some areas where he's gonna maybe struggle a little bit, but I think he's still gonna be effective this year. 9.5, that's a little high for me.
Now I can tell you someone who I think is really low. I think that the Raiders gonna win more than 5.5 games. They gonna win 6 or more. I think that the Raiders were one of those teams that desperately needed a quarterback last year. And now they got Geno Smith. Geno Smith, I feel like is a very, very serviceable journeyman. Like to me, he is like and don't take this word the wrong way. He's like the average of the NFL. He's the bar. Like if you want to be considered a good quarterback, be Geno Smith level or higher. You know what I'm saying? I say good, not great. But he is like the floor.
He's the floor.
Yeah,
Geno's the floor.
He's the minimum of what you want a good quarterback to be.
I think. Okay, we're gonna debate that. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, Geno is the ultimate don't write back guy, man. He don't have no stamps. He don't go by the post office, man.
That was a bar, by the way.
Yeah, man. Geno is that guy. But I think you're gonna put a lot on. You're gonna put it on him, but you're gonna want your first pick in the draft. The cornerstone of your offense, and Ashton Jeanty to be able to take that pressure on him, so that Geno can be a play action guy and things of that nature.
Sure. But you're giving Geno probably the best. I'm not even gonna say probably. You're giving him the best tight end that he's ever had in Brock Bowers, though.
I mean, you giving him Brock Bowers. I give you that. Yeah, I mean, Brock,
and don't forget, Michael Mayer's sitting there behind him.
Yeah, I think Michael Mayer's on the other side, but he is not Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is a different kind of cat. Put him in the lab, but you're going to be able this year if you try to double there. And Jeanty can get you some one-on-one situations. Brock can be a problem for you this year. Definitely think that's going to be an addition for them for sure.
And they drafted like 3 or 4 receivers this year, and then brought in like four more undrafted guys. So they trying to fix the receiver room.
They trying to get that offense right. They trying to get that offense right, and Pete's gonna get the most out of those guys the way he coaches and the way he gets it out of his guys. So it's gonna be promising. Definitely gonna be.
So to have them at 5.5 games when the last time they won 5 or less was, besides 2024, the last time they won 5 or less was 2018.
Okay, hey man. So we saying, we don't promote betting. We would take a sponsor, a little something.
Hey, look,
but I think
I'll take a little sponsor,
I'll take a little sponsor.
Send me a DM. Send me a DM.
Yeah, shoot us one. I definitely think. So we say we're gonna put a little scratch on over for the Raiders. Okay.
I definitely would for the Falcons.
Okay. Over on the Falcons. You're gonna do under on the Panthers, which I would do over on the Panthers. And what was our last thing we looked at and we said?
We talked about.
And I'm under on Minnesota, and you up on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Yeah. Hey, man. Man. I think I got a couple of dollars we can put together, man, to get that cracking.
Oh yeah. Hey, man, I'm not mad at it. You know one. This is a team that we didn't talk about. Do you think San Francisco is too high, sitting at 10.5?
Absolutely, I think they're too high. I think they're way too. I think, and we talk about this all the time. If you don't do something elite, you're not in that top 7 of quarterbacks, and we're going to go into that. That upper. You said the floor. If you don't have one of those quarterbacks that are above the floor, I think teams are starting to figure things out. And as much as the fake genius is given so much credit around the league, I think they're starting to people are starting to figure, hey, we can do you said can't do this out here. Hey, we're not going to do so much here with Kittles. They got the Ayuk will be back this year, but they got rid of Debo. But
he's possibly disgruntled. Ayuk is possibly disgruntled. So
I mean, no matter how disgruntled he is, he just signed that deal. He can be disgruntled all he wants to.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's what's up.
Man, I feel like San Fran is in one of those interesting positions where they have the framework of their team from last year, but they did lose a lot of pieces. Like they lost Debo, and for what it's worth, hasn't really been like 1,000 yards. Debo's only had 1,000 yards once, like in his whole career.
Gotcha.
You know that,
right?
But he was an important part of their offense. So they lost Debo Samuel. You never know about Christian McCaffrey's health. Christian McCaffrey. I say this often, Chris. Christian McCaffrey made a deal with the devil for 1 year of health, and the devil came to collect last year.
Man.
So you never know with Christian McCaffrey's health.
Okay.
They lost guys on defense. Even though the heart and soul of their defense, Fred Warner, is still there, they lost guys up front. So you. I'm wondering, is San Fran's window closing because of the money that they had to pay their quarterback and losing pieces around him? When
I think he was the most propped up quarterback in the league with the system. I think even more than Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts can say I don't care because I got a Super Bowl. But I just believe those two quarterbacks were not extremely dynamic. I think they were definitely a product of that system. And so when I look at it, you're looking at Hurts, Goff, Purdy, systematic guys, and then, but because they had complete teams around and got throw Minnesota in, you got Kirk, systematic guys. But to get to the point of they were able not have to be the best thing on their football team, they were able to win games because they had a more complete roster. I think now that people have been able to chip away at it, Greenlaw's gone, Debo's gone, you worry about the health of McCaffrey and things of that nature. I think that 10.5 is a little bit inflated. But I also go back to the point of how people love to elevate people's pedigree. And so I think the pedigree, they're always trying to elevate Shanahan's pedigree of being just this great coach. And we've said this time and time again. I don't think he's a great coach. You can't have double-digit leads in the fourth quarter and lose 3 times and be a great coach to me. I think you got a nice scheme, but I think certain things work out well. I mean, you don't punch me in the mouth a couple times, but when you get to go somewhere else, people beat your ass. And I just don't think I don't think he's a great coach. He has a great running style and running, but he's just doing the same thing his daddy did. So I mean, I'm more impressed with McVay than I am with Shanahan, and that's just me.
Yeah. See, I guess I could say that for another day. It's kind of nuanced, but man, San Fran is in an interesting position. They lost a lot. I mean, they still got the dudes that really make that clock tick. They still got Trent. They still got Fred Warner, etc. But it's going to be interesting.
40. Hey man, Trent's almost 40, and you and I both know with a left tackle as they start to age, then hey man, the flexibility and the brittleness and things of that nature. Even though Trent overcame cancer, that it catches up. Hey man, it catches up with everybody. So Father Time is still out there on that left side, and he's gonna catch up. So Trent has always had a little cheating, little rocking style when he's blocking anyway. So I mean, 10.5 is crazy. And like you said, I think, let me see who said that. Yeah, and like you said, Cowboy champs. Yeah, they ain't got they ain't got the Pillsbury Doughboy no more right now. So it's gonna be some things, man. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a little different with him. I do like Isaac Guerrero as a backup running back. I loved his style of running when he was in college, and he showed me he could play at the next level. So I think there's going to be more. They're going to lean more on him and what he does to make it to the point that you can get McCaffrey later in the season. But I'm not to the point I'm so much worried about Brock Purdy dropping back and just dotting me up all over the field without the scheme being a certain kind of way. So
we'll figure it out.
High.
You'll figure it out. I think that even though, like I said, Debo hasn't been like that 1,000-yard guy multiple times, but he was a guy that teams just had to be aware of.
You had to account for him. Yeah, you had to account for him.
And you don't have to do that. You
had to have a guy who can touch the ball in several different places, and I think that's a weapon, So I definitely think teams are going to change things up there.
Yeah, man, like that's a difficult one to kind of grade. I'm trying to think of any other teams that I really, of course, besides we ain't talk about Dallas yet. I tried to want to make this like a very general NFL topic.
We want to talk about all the teams, because we're fans of the game. We're fans of the game, so we're gonna look at the whole picture. But where they got my Cowboys at?
They have the Cowboys at 8.5 is their over under. A healthy Cowboys team, I feel like, is a 10-win team with this schedule. So I would feel comfortable taking a little bit of money and setting that aside for them. But if you have to worry about health, Dak is teetering. I'm not even gonna say teetering until he proves otherwise. Dak got that injury tag on. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
he has to prove it otherwise right now.
I mean, like I said, because we all know how you get down. You hold grudges. So
I don't hold a grudge against that. I'm just saying that he has to prove that he isn't injury prone.
I mean, I understand that he has missed some games. Last year,
3 of the last 5 years.
I mean, yeah, 3. But we're talking about last year. You had his bump, the meat rip off his bone. That's fluky. Him getting his hand hurt that year. Him getting his hand hurt that year. That's your young left side player, young guy who's playing left guard, get pushed out the left tackle. And so
the way that one happened is he threw the ball and his hand hit the guy's helmet, and he broke his thumb. Yeah,
on his passing hand. So that's kind of fluky. So but like you said, 3 of the last 5 years he's been hurt. My thing is that when he can go ahead and play games, Rain is always going to give me, because I believe he's an upper tier quarterback. Rain gives me 5 games. He gives me 5 games every time when he's healthy. And I think with the improvement on certain things, definitely giving him a definite 1A and 1B target on the outside.
Sure.
8.5 games, to me, I'm telling you, man, I ain't going to say nothing to my wife. But when we out here doing our thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're like, yo, Chris, where you get this scratch? Hey, man, I'm just NFL provided, ended up providing, gave your boy what he needed. So I'm excited about that.
Like I said, this is predicated on the health, and that's a TI word of the day right there. This is predicated on Dak Prescott's health. Everybody else you can kind of play it by ear with, but if you don't have your starting quarterback, it's no chance.
Absolutely.
We've seen where they can come in and win 12 games like just like that. But in the years where Dak has gotten hurt, missed some significant time, more than like 3 or 4 games, that's when they get to be 8 wins, 6 wins, So and as most recently this year, 7 wins. So, but because Dak's health is kind of up in the air, I'm not mad at them putting it at 8.5, 8.5. There we go. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it because until he overcomes that injury prone tag that he got just sitting on his chest, it's right beside the captain's tag. Really, you might not be able to see it, but it says injury prone. He got to rip that off of his jersey. Until he does, I'm not mad at them saying, okay, the Cowboys are gonna win 8 games because their quarterback can't stay healthy. I'm not mad at it. That's just what the past few years have shown. I'll say this, Chris. I'm not the type of person to just look at 1 year in a vacuum. I like to use a span of time. Use some evidence, right? We got multiple years, we have empirical evidence that maybe he'll miss some games. He has to prove otherwise, and that's why when we talk to our guy, he's at the Star every day. He's at the Star working out every day, trying to get those tendons and those muscles in the leg not as stiff, to where it'll get ripped off a bone and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, man. Yeah.
I think for me, because of the injuries that he's kind of got, I've been brittle guy.
Yeah.
I think it's been more to the point of the injuries that he has had. I think some of them are kind of fluky. Guy broke his leg because he got pulled down from the back and bent down.
Hip drop tackle.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Hip drop tackle. They got that out the league. So but he missed games. You turn around the next time he ends up having a helmet to the he had the helmet hand to the helmet. He missed 5 games. I'll give you that. And then you turn around, you get the hamstring. The hamstring. Hamstring off the bone is crazy though. That's crazy. But sure. I blame that on different things inside the building that people don't always, give credit to. My dog jumped on me. That's why I jumped, fellas. And that's why I say that for me is a little bit out of pocket, But I mean, when you've had, because I haven't heard that happen nowhere else in the league except for in Dallas. So it's kind of fluky to me. But okay,
the game is the game. The game is the game. It'll be like that. The game.
And y'all want to put the injury tag on him. My man Sean was asking, do I still have him as a top 10 quarterback? We're gonna go into that, but I definitely have him as a top 10 quarterback in the league. And
lists frustrate me, Chris. Lists frustrate me. I make lists because I have to, but lists frustrate me. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say about that until we move over to that topic.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think this is a good time to segue, Chris. I think this is a great time to segue.
We can do that. We can do that.
So this was Yahoo Sports. They came up with the top 10 quarterbacks heading into the season, right?
Okay.
Here we go. We got this. The guy that made it, Nate Tice. Shout out to him.
Right.
But he came out with his top 10 quarterbacks leading into the season. And Chris, I do things a little different.
Oh, okay.
I don't look at just 1 year, like just the most recent season, when I'm thinking of where I'm going to place a quarterback. I try to look at a span of time where I can at least have some evidence. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Give me 3 years worth of time where I can look at and I can say, okay, this we can see that this year wasn't just a fluke or something like that. Like for example, some people, if you only use last year, will put Sam Darnold as a top 10 quarterback. But I don't have enough evidence to support that,
Oh, okay.
I don't look at 1 year in a vacuum, like I said a few minutes ago. And let's just looking at from 10 to 1. I mean, let me skip over CJ Stroud, Chris. I'm not sure what world Sunshine is a top 10 quarterback. Explain that to me. Explain that to me, Chris. I don't think Trevor Lawrence has shown me enough that he can be in the top 10 quarterback talk. He hasn't shown me with his play. He definitely hasn't shown with his team winning games that he's top 10. So I definitely think he doesn't need to be in this list in top 10. If anything, I'm looking at this list. It's like 2 guys in here, really maybe 3 guys that I got big time questions about. And Trevor Lawrence is the first one, and I love Trevor Lawrence, but I definitely wouldn't have him as a top 10. I want to like him.
Oh no, I mean, you want to like him because the way he was drafted, got the nickname, got the big arm, all the different things come along with it. But he just hasn't proven it at this next level. So I would definitely take Trevor Lawrence out of my top 10 if I had to do that.
Hey, Chris. Cowboys champs asked a question. He said, "Should the Cowboys run a 3-4 instead of a 4-3 because our DNs are so light?" What do you think about that?
I love the 4-3 because it gives you the ability to move. I like the pieces that we have. I don't think our DNs are as light as you think. I think we do have like 3 pass rushing defensive ends. I do like our chase down guy and Peyton Thomas and Marshawn Nealon. And you can even throw Sam Williams into that bunch. But I think, you're fine there. I think the biggest question is going to be that what everybody's having is how the count, the snap count, and the rotation you have at defensive tackle. And forcing people, because you have to earn the right to rush the passer. You don't just get to do it. You get to earn it, and you earn it by winning on first and second down. So I think
you got to take advantage of everywhere. You got to beat people up in B gap. You know what I'm saying? You got to have your nose, really oppress that center. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not doing that, then nobody's gonna take your defense serious.
I just think that my nose tackle is going to be adequate. I think we're going to have a good enough rotation. It's not a hope for me because he was better. He was. I understand. You need to stop that. They got a prayer line for that. You know what I'm saying? And so that you can go ahead and get that out the chest.
Yeah.
But I just think it's going to be. I think we're going to be okay. You're worried about it, and a lot of people have. But I think they're going to work some things out. And the one thing you can always say about Eberflus defense, you don't run the football on them. He is not a guy that gets ran down his throat. So I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be all right. But going back to this list, I don't have Trevor Lawrence at 9 is mad disrespectful. So I would definitely put it.
I don't see that.
I definitely go ahead.
I'm comfortable with where they put that. I feel like at any given time you can have Dak as like a 7 to 12 in your quarterback rankings, and I'd be like, okay, I'm not upset about that because, like I said previously, he has a history of injury. That there are guys who are in a similar situation to him that you could just be like, okay, I prefer this guy. Justin Herbert. Just to throw that name out there. Justin Herbert and Dak have had, got guys who haven't had much playoff success, put up big numbers, things like that. The main difference is Justin Herbert just really don't win too many games.
Last year he won 11 games last year, and I just
that was the second time. That was the second time being above 500.
Got you, but I just hate the recency bias and all the leverage and leeway they give Justin Herbert. I don't know if they like his SoFi commercials. I don't know if they like that he's blonde haired. I don't know what it is. But Justin Herbert to me is not a top 10 quarterback. I really believe
personally, not to me either. He's not to me either. Chris, I think I might have had like an hour long, maybe even more conversation with a couple of my friends today. Shaheem's in the chat. I had Shaheem and a couple other guys. The conversation didn't even start off being specifically about that, but when people talk to Cowboys fans, they kind of got to bring up the Cowboys more so than we do. You know how the game is, but
I understand.
We had a conversation about that, and like I said before, I am not a person to rank guys just based on the vacuum of 1 year. I use a span of time to really kind of form an opinion, right?
Okay.
So that's why I put Dak where he is. I mean, of course, if you only based off last year, yes, Dak wouldn't be a top 10 quarterback because he played 8 games.
Right.
He played 8 games, but hold
on. But 8 games, 8 games. No help in the offseason, but the year before he was the MVP.
Yeah,
he had MVP caliber. He was really the MVP of the league. His numbers were better than Lamar's.
Mm-hmm.
They were absolutely better than Lamar's. We just we put it on his back that the defense couldn't stop Tua Tagovailoa from getting in field goal range to win a game in Miami and a fumble.
Sure.
Okay, but I'm just saying when Rain is on. He is number 6 on this list to me without question. I'm taking Justin Herbert out of this. I'm throwing him. I'm putting Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm actually that's the one that really surprises me. Right when we were going to talk about guys that just didn't make it, not having Jalen Hurts in your top 10, a little wild to me. Because I feel like yes, there are going to be quite a few quarterbacks that are just better at passing the ball than Jalen Hurts, but being able to win, having a clutch gene is something that you got to quantify. And I think that Jalen Hurts does that extremely well. Jalen Hurts is a very clutch quarterback. I
think the system he works in makes it to the point it makes him easy because, like
that's exactly what I was going to say.
You talking about complete teams? That's a complete football team.
Absolutely. So, but I mean, that ain't his fault that they decided to put a roster around him.
No, it's not. That's the GM's job.
Absolutely. Howard Roseman must got something in the trunk. got some people that he hiding away, man. He needs some RICO charges. Howie needs some RICO charges because the way that man works is insane.
Hey man, Howie move the work around the streets. Yeah. Everybody, he got it all across the city, and he doing what he's supposed to do. But like, you got to pay the bill on that. I don't give a damn if you do got to pay the credit card bill at some point in time. Make minimum
use
payments.
The card. If you got to pay the bill, use the card. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what the Eagles have been doing. And it's kind of well known, like, when that bubble's going to burst for Philly. 2029 is going to be a rough year for them, right?
Okay.
But as long as they making it to the championship and being in contention for that chip, you know.
I'm just, me and you have talked about this before. I don't think the salary cap is real. You can figure out ways to be able to move stuff around to the point of getting it. But if you got a down year or something like that, you've got enough cachet with your fan base that you can have a down year. You know,
as long as you trying. As long as you trying,
man. As long as you trying, man. As long as you giving it your best shot to try and win, but you can maneuver things around to do that, and that's what he's been able to do. So,
absolutely.
Those are the guys who I think. I really gotta, I like Love. I'm not crazy about Love being
I like Jordan
there.
Love. I like Jordan Love. I like him a lot, actually.
I mean, you like him a little bit more than I do. If I had to put a guy in that slot in that area, I'm gonna give a little more love to because of longevity, like you said, and showing you time and time he's gotten better. I like Baker Mayfield a little bit more than I like Jordan Love. And I mean, Jordan Love.
This is rough, right?
No, all I'm saying is that Jordan Love got this extra bump because he played against Dallas in the playoffs. So the next year you expect him to go do this, and then he kind of strung
Somebody
back.
said that. Somebody said that to me today. Somebody said that is it just because Jordan Love beat Dallas?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, okay. I just think Baker Mayfield has been doing it more consistently. When he's done. I mean, he's won his division back to back. He's been showing that he can get the job done no matter who you put out there. Jordan Love had an uptick year again, and they beat Dallas, and then they came back the next year and they kind of came back to earth. So, what a difference a year of film makes. But Baker's been showing you didn't have film on me all this time, and I still keep getting the job done. So, my list is a little different. Go ahead.
So, like we Shaheem is in the chat. That's my dog, by the way.
Yeah.
Dak is not a top 10 quarterback. The way.
So who?
I could just say this because I know him. He bases things off of just the most recent year, the vacuum of recency. You know what I'm saying? I disagree because when we see Dak actually on the field, plays extremely well. You know what I'm saying? Sports gurus in the chat say when it comes to playing the QB position, Dak is a top 10 quarterback. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And I do think, playing for the Cowboys might have something to do with it, but I'm gonna try to talk in good faith when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? I believe that when it comes to doing the things that a quarterback has to do, passing the ball very well, reading defenses, how can you name 10 people that do that better than Dak? That's where I disagree with Shaheem earlier. Like I said, having guys like, I'll use Justin Herbert as an example. The thing that a lot of people down Dak on is the lack of playoff success. But Justin Herbert doesn't have any wins in the playoffs.
Doesn't have any playoff success. Doesn't have any playoff success.
Absolutely.
Doesn't have any.
Yes, he had that 5,000-yard season. Dak had a 4,900-yard season. They were 109 yards apart in their best, statistical seasons. And
in that 4,900-yard season, I think he had maybe 3 to 4 fourth quarters that he didn't play that year.
Yeah. So it's really hard. It's really hard to rank somebody as a top 5 quarterback in Justin Herbert. I'm only using top 5 because this is where Yahoo Sports has, where Matt Tice decided to replace him.
But so go ahead.
It's really hard to do that when, for one person, you're going to talk about their lack of playoff success, and the other person you act like that doesn't matter.
Absolutely. You change the criteria.
Taking it a step further, lack of playoff success is why some Cowboys fans don't even want Dak as their quarterback anymore. So you kind of got to pick your struggle, Is Dak a top 10 quarterback, but you just don't want to deal with it anymore because of lack of playoff success? Or are you going to look at the data, look at the play on the field, and say, okay, yeah, he is good? Because you can't say that about Dak and then not say it about Justin Herbert. You can't. You just look hypocritical.
No, they're going to say it about Ray, but they're not going to say it about Justin Herbert. So I think they're going to always, and I don't like to use this criteria, moving the goalposts, but I think they're just going to always gauge it more. They're going to give him, he's younger, so therefore he has an opportunity to get that right. He's been in the league long enough. He's had enough cachet that
5 years.
He has this, and I'm just not giving him that blanket pass, because I'm not giving it to Trevor Lawrence. So if my list is going like this, I just believe, honestly, the way they have it, 1, 2, and 3. One is always going to be
1 through 4. I'm fine as wherever you put 2 through 4. Wherever you put 2 through 4, cool with me.
Right. Yeah.
Because at that point, that's just your flavor. That's just your flavor. I feel like Mahomes, he's in his own tier. Pat Mahomes is in Pat Mahomes tier. That's not tier 1. That's not tier 1. That's Pat Mahomes. That's the name of that tier.
Pat Mahomes. That's it.
2, 3, and 4, where you got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Put them however you want. I really couldn't argue against you.
Right.
I could not argue against you.
Right.
And when you get to 5 through 10, that's kind of where you can really start to have those good faith debates.
I don't think I got any debates. I'm gonna make Stafford 5. His longevity, Super Bowl.
So let me give you an example. Jalen Hurts is my number 5 quarterback right now. I think, like I said, the clutch gene has a lot to do with it. There are going to be quarterbacks that throw the ball better than Jalen Hurts. There are going to be quarterbacks that run the ball better than Jalen Hurts. But being as clutch as he is, being as infallible as he is, that's a TI word of the day, is such a monumentous quality for him. Boy, I'm on one today. I've been reading my thesaurus, Chris. I've been reading my thesaurus, Chris. Okay. But that just makes him so much better than the people around him, because you can't shake him. Like I'll use an example. I got a picture on my phone, Chris. I got a picture on my phone, and let me put my phone on D&D. I don't need nobody texting me while I do this. You can see the look in Dak Prescott's eyes when he's rattled. Let me go and turn that. That look right there, that deer in the headlights look, you can see that. I ain't never seen Jalen Hurts have that look. I ain't never seen Jalen Hurts have that look.
I have, but nobody's putting it on the internet and on Twitter 17,000 times. I don't see Jalen Hurts rattled. I don't see Jalen Hurts look like.
I haven't.
Why?
Not visibly sitting on the sidelines. I haven't.
Yes, I have. Shit, when he came to Dallas 2 years ago, when Diggs picked him off, man, he looked like his ass wanted to go home and cry. He looked like he wanted to be in Alabama again. So see, that's what I'm saying. Don't let the internet, because they're gonna find pictures of Dak doing that. They're not gonna they're not gonna sit up and post pictures of Jalen Hurts looking bewildered and lost, because right now he's the champ. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta go beat him. So you got to go get in those positions. They got pictures of all quarterbacks like that. They're just not going to post them over and over, because nobody give a damn what Jalen Hurts look like. They care what Rain Dakota. That's what I always say. We are on so many people's minds of what we are, because the way we're publicized and out there. Yeah. But I've seen those same looks on Jalen Hurts' face. I've seen Jalen Hurts walk to the sideline and look disgusted and beat up and bewildered. Yeah.
Show me. I said text it to me. When we're done.
I can go do it, but I don't care to go find him, man. But I've seen it. You're going to be able to find that. That's a meme. They're going to find it because that's what they want to be able to promote. I'm just telling you, according to me, the way this looks at, I'm going to go my top 4. I'm going to put Stafford at 5.
Stafford is 6 for me. Stafford's 6 for me.
Nah, Stafford's 5 for me. Stafford's 5 for me because his longevity, his ability to just, be the best thing that the Rams will be able to do and be able to play the way it. Stafford's 5 for me. I'm gonna put Hurts at 6. Rain will be 7 for me.
I have him in the same place. Sure.
Yeah, I got Rain at 7. I'm getting Herbert and Lawrence up out of here. I'll probably put Baker at 8. I'm definitely gonna put Baker at 8. I'll put Stroud at 9 and put Love at 10. But Those two, Herbert and Lawrence, you know, they gotta go, man. They gotta go. They gotta show me something. They gotta show me something. And I haven't seen enough for them to be top 10.
Let me ask you this question, Chris. And this is, you know, as I was sitting at my desk working today, you know, slaving hard.
Man, please.
I had a thought, right? How do you choose to rank rookie quarterbacks in their first year? Like, I'll use an example. If we only had this 1 year in a vacuum, a lot of people would say that Jaden Daniels deserved to be a top 10 quarterback. But the way that I chose to explain this to some people today, I try to temper my expectations with rookies, whether it is when they have a bad year or when they have a good year. But it's only that 1 year that we have. You know what I'm saying? So even though Jaden Daniels had an amazing year, one of the best rookie years ever, right?
No,
one of.
He had the best. He had he did. Yeah, he had one of the best. I'll go back to one. I was going to say because I'm
not sure if it's the best. I'm not sure if it's the best ever, but it's up there. It's up there for sure. I mean, Jaden Daniels had one of the best rookie years ever. And if you disagree, if you're gonna say, oh no, he didn't, I gotta look at you a little funny. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the only other guy that comes to mind having a better rookie year than him is when Ben Roethlisberger was a rookie and he took the Steelers all the way to the AFC Championship and lost. There's never been a rookie that has ever taken his team taking them to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. There's never been a rookie that's got their team all the way to the Super Bowl. And so it was between him and Ben having the most spectacular rookie season ever. With
that in mind, would you put a guy who just had his rookie year in your top 10 quarterbacks, even though like we know it, and the reason I can say we know is because it happens all the time. Once teams get that 1 year's worth of film and they can just sit and eat that food for a whole off season, things level out. Things level. So that's something that I struggle with. That's why I wouldn't have Jaden Daniels in my top 10.
He's on my floor. He's in my top. He's a top 15 guy, but he's not top 10. He's going to have to be. You know, he's going to have to give me more. Then he's going to have to come back this year, and then when they switch on him and turn certain things, keep him in the will, make him be more accurate at throwing the ball out the pocket. Then I'll say. I just keep saying like this, and this is why I don't have him as a top 10 quarterback. Hey man, Mike Zimmer had that dude locked up, man. Mike Zimmer had that dude in handcuffs. Yeah. You know, both times he played us, he had Jaden Daniels flustered. He was like, okay. I mean, Marcus Mariota beat us, not Jaden Daniels.
Sure.
See what I'm saying? So I'm. That's what I'm saying. Me, and that's just from me from what I seen. He struggled. He struggled against. He had a great season and he had some spectacular moments. You know,
great playoff run.
But people helped him. The Bears helped him. You know, the Bears helped him. Get a little bit of lore. That playoff run was great. But it got to the point, man, you know, when you needed him to go do certain things, you know, he kind of fell short. But he is a top 15 quarterback, without question. I think he's a top 15 quarterback. I just think he's top 10 yet.
Like I said, I just try to temper expectations. That's why, you know, Bo Nix isn't up there for me. That's why I don't put Caleb Williams too low. They were all rookies, you know, second year, you know, like I don't say that I don't judge rookies. I don't say that. But I just temper my expectations for them. I try to grant them some grace, if you will.
I mean, you want to be able to do it, but you want to be able to bring him in and get him things that he does well, and that's what Washington did last year. They did things where it made things were well. A lot of one reads, getting him outside, letting him use his legs and athleticism. And the thing about it is that because of his frame, that was always everybody's fear because of his slight build. You didn't want to have him taking too many shots. So, like I said, he'll have a whole offseason to get the peanut butter, you know, and you know, work out and stuff like that. That's the only place his mama ain't gonna worry about getting nowhere at. She gonna let him go to the gym and work out, but he's gonna be able to be better there. But like you said, having a year to see what you have and you don't have anything really super duper dynamic that you do outside of him on Washington, it makes you say, oh, okay, I'm worried about that. I think Cliff's going to come up with some different ways to move it around, but he doesn't have a dynamic running back. He's got some good wide receiver pieces. He's got an okay tight end situation, but nothing spectacular that you say, oh, hey, I got to, really lock in on that. So we'll see.
Sure.
Man. We'll see.
Sure. So my 7, let me see, my 8, 9, and 10. There we go. I think it was who was it? It was, I know Jordan Love was there. Jordan Love was 9. CJ Stroud was 10. Who was my number 8? I cannot remember off the top of my head. Jared Goff. There we go. Jared Goff was my number 8. Goff.
Okay.
I do. I feel like ever since he's come into Detroit, he has come into his own. You know what I'm saying? And the reason that I give him that is because you can't say that he didn't have a scheme in LA. You can't say that. He had Sean McVay as his quarterback. And then he comes into Detroit, where I would argue you have a coach who is less of a genius. I'm not even. Is that even worth arguing about? Dan Campbell is less of a genius than Sean McVay.
Dan Campbell didn't call the offense. So Ben Johnson was the next big thing. So that's Ben Johnson's offense. Dan Campbell is the motivator, the walk around guy. So I'm not saying that. I just think you're going to see I think you've seen the very best of Jared Goff. He's going to have to take it up a tick higher, because what we have seen from him, he is a systematic quarterback. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He's a guy that can make plays inside the system.
Is it unfair to him to say that he's a systematic quarterback when he went from one great system to another, and then he was able to excel his play? You know what I'm saying?
No, he went to two of the best play callers in the league as his offensive coordinator. I went from driving a Mercedes Benz to I went and drove a BMW. I don't think that's it's two different. It's luxury cars though. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying he had the best. Now this year is when you're going to see the essence of Jared Goff. If he can be that next tier guy, you got to keep him in the top 10. Like, hey, boom, boom, boom. Because when he's gone places, he's had pieces around him to make plays. So now I think he got a great play. He's had great play calls his entire career.
The main reason that I'm I guess so kind to Goff and where I put him is because he's doing this in a different city now. If he had only done this his whole career in one city on one team, I'd say okay, he might be the product of his team. But I try to be a little bit more kind to him.
I just love how you got all this benevolence and love and camaraderie and just compassion in your heart for Jared Goff. When that joker went from Sean McVay, right? Sean McVay to my man Ben Johnson, and you've been just giving hell to my man Terrence Steele when he got old ass dilapidated damn O-line coach, but he's sorry. But you just giving a guy who's had Cadillac, premier motion, great minds coaching him, and he did get a Super Bowl, but we don't. He got to the Super Bowl and lost one of the most boring Super Bowls of all time. Had San Francisco in their building beat, had they beaten their own building, couldn't get it done there, and then last year got caught by Boy Wonder. So I'm just loving the grace you giving Jared, man.
Chris,
I see the progression.
One thing you might not know about me, Chris, I don't hold grudges.
What? you don't hold them? Man, please get your tail out of here, man.
But man, and then I got CJ Stroud at 10. Because in what a lot of people will call a sophomore slump year, like I don't say that for CJ Stroud or the Texans. I say that it just kind of leveled out because after the people got the film on him, he still produced very well. He went from like 4,200 yards. I don't got the numbers in front of me. He went from like 4,200 yards or something like that in his rookie year to like 38 or 3,900 in his sophomore year. I think that things just leveled out because he gave the team something to look at in the offseason.
No, I think it leveled out for CJ, man, because he lost his pieces. I guarantee you that
things can be true. Multiple things can be true.
I think CJ's situation changed because he lost his pieces. I guarantee you're not gonna take away J-Mo and Sun God St. Brown from Jared Goff and him still be able to put up the kind of numbers he put up. I just don't even see him doing that. I just don't. You know what I'm saying?
Jameer Gibbs might line up at wide receiver.
Huh?
So Jameer Gibbs might line up at wide receiver.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, bro. I don't just see him having that ability to do that. And so when he lost those two guys, and you know, Michi was kind of kind of iffy. I think he'll finally give you his first full season where he can give you a lot of snaps and be able to be out there. I just think CJ,
I root for John Mechie, Chris. I root for John Mechie a lot, man. You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
Because I liked him in college, and then just to have it potentially taken away from you, man. I wish him the best.
Yeah. So that's why I think CJ is number 9 for me, I believe, and then I would put Goff if I had to, or Baker or Goff or somebody at 10. But I respect your list. I respect your acumen.
For sure.
Yeah,
Chris. I had another topic set for us, but man, we're in that dry season.
We're in that dry season,
so
man.
What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tuck that. I'm gonna tuck
You're
that.
Put in the cup? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna tuck that for next time, Chris.
Okay.
Because I think we can stretch that one out a little bit.
No doubt,
and it's interesting, you know. But if you have sat here for this hour and 21 minutes, and you'd have been rocking with us for this long, I need you to do 3 things for us: like, comment, share, subscribe. You know that is the ever important currency of this YouTube thing. You know,
right?
I want you to like this video. I want you to put a comment below, and since this was a very general video, Chris, I'm gonna do something a little different. I want you to tell me who your favorite NFL team is and when you became a fan of them. So that's what I want you to comment below. I want you to share it. Go ahead, tap that share button, share it to your news feed. And then, of course, you got to be subscribed. If you're not subscribed already, really, I'm disappointed in you. I'm not mad, Chris. I'm not mad, Chris. I'm just disappointed.
You're disappointed.
I'm just disappointed.
Okay.
So, next time, I think, Chris, we gonna talk about. I got a game for us, Chris. Next time, I got a game.
Oh, we getting games?
I got a game for us, Chris, and I think it's gonna be really interesting.
Okay. All right.
But as always, you know, Chris always say that he's Robin or that he's Alfred. That's not true. If I was Captain America, Chris would be Bucky. You know, after the mind control. After the mind control.
Okay. Oh, after the mind control, I wouldn't be the Winter Soldier. I'd be Bucky.
Yeah. You be Bucky. Okay. You know.
All right.
And we do this thing. We try to do this thing a good way. You know. Chris over this side, I'm over this side, and together we come together. You know, and make Frankly Football. So until next time. Peace.